You've worked your entire life. You saved every penny, not for yourself, but for your children. Your legacy, the peace of mind you were promised in your golden years. You believe you're safe, secure, respected. But what if the greatest threat to your financial freedom, to your dignity, isn't a scammer on the internet or a volatile stock market? What if it's the voice of someone you trust implicitly, a hand you've held since they were children? This is not a horror story about strangers. This is about family. The truth, the unspoken terror that haunts millions of Americans over 60, is that elder financial abuse is overwhelmingly committed not by strangers, but by adult children and close family members. They may not carry a gun or break down your door, but they wield something far more dangerous: your trust and your unconditional love. They call it borrowing. They call it helping out. They tell you they'll pay it back. They promise to take care of you, but gradually, subtly, that help becomes an entitlement. The small requests for rent money turn into demands for the down payment on a new car. The requests for access to your account, just for emergencies, turn into unexplained withdrawals. And the devastating question you ask yourself every night, the one you're too ashamed to admit: am I still loved, or am I just a walking ATM? This betrayal is a slow, quiet poison. It starts with a simple lie and ends with your entire life savings gone, your independence revoked, and your heart shattered into pieces. This isn't just about money. It's about dignity. It's about the fundamental human right to control your own life, your own choices, and your own hard-earned legacy. When they take your money, they take your future, transforming you from a respected patriarch or matriarch into a burden. But there is a way to fight back. There is a way to regain control and rebuild your emotional armor. The first step is to recognize the signs, not just the financial ones, but the emotional manipulation that precedes the theft. They use guilt. They use tears. They use the silent treatment. They tell you they're worried about your confusion, when they are truly worried about losing their cash cow. It is time to stop being the victim and start being the guardian of your own peace. In this comprehensive guide, we will uncover the 3 hidden phases of financial abuse and arm you with the legal and emotional tools to cut the poison out, reclaim your independence, and ensure your final years are defined by freedom, not fear. If you feel trapped, confused, or constantly on edge when discussing finances with certain family members, you are likely navigating the first 2 critical stages of financial exploitation. Understanding these phases is your first line of defense. It transforms the confusion into clarity and the fear into strategy. Phase 1 is the guilt trip and the erosion of boundaries. This phase is subtle, masked by love and necessity. The abuser rarely asks for a large lump sum. They start with small, seemingly necessary requests. "Mom, I just need $500 for the rent this month. I promise I'll pay you back next week." Or, "Dad, the car broke down and I can't get to work. Can you help?" The primary emotional weapon is guilt. They remind you of your duty as a parent, of how much you have and how little they have. They make you feel selfish for even considering saying no. Once you say yes to the first request, the boundary is weakened. Repayment is either forgotten or postponed indefinitely. The requests become more frequent and less urgent. You find yourself financing their lifestyle: groceries, vacations, new furniture, things you could barely afford for yourself during your working years. The most crucial sign is the shift in conversation. They only call when they need money. Your attempts to discuss your own health or life events are quickly deflected or met with impatience. You realize the relationship is purely a commercial transaction, disguised as family connection. Phase 2 is the isolation and the information blackout. As the exploitation intensifies, the abuser must control 2 things: your information and your social circle. They start managing your money for your benefit. They convince you to sign documents for convenience. such as adding their name to your bank account or assigning them power of attorney, POA. They hide your statements, telling you they're too confusing for you to handle. The abuser starts subtly cutting you off from friends, siblings, or neighbors who might notice the drain on your finances. They might tell your friends you're confused or too busy for visitors. This isolation ensures that when they escalate to phase 3, you have no one left to call for help. This phase often includes blatant acts of disrespect, such as being explicitly excluded from a major family event. This is done to establish your place in the new hierarchy. You are the ATM, not the honored matriarch. The transition from victim to survivor begins with one moment of crystalline clarity. You realize that the money you gave away was not a financial loss. It was the price of a devastating lesson. When you cut off the financial supply, the abusers will panic, and they will escalate the attack. This is phase 3, the legal assault and the guardian scam. When their money tap is shut off, the abuser's only recourse is to legally revoke your independence. They will file a petition for guardianship, claiming you are mentally incompetent or confused. They will manufacture evidence, misinterpreted actions, manipulated testimonies from neighbors, or even professionals. Their goal is to prove you are making irrational decisions, cutting them off financially, due to mental decline. This is where you deploy your emotional and legal counterattack. Your lawyer, a specialist in elder law, will argue that the only irrational decision you made was to stop their access to your bank account. The evidence of years of financial dependency is the most damning proof of their abuse, not your incompetence. The legal fight is simply the stage for your true victory, reclaiming your voice and your truth. Your final testimony should focus not on the money, but on the emotional calculation. The money was merely a commercial transaction disguised as love. The judge's verdict in your favor is the official confirmation of your full mental capacity and self-worth. Your journey back to freedom requires immediate strategic action. First, cut the cord, secure the castle. Immediately cancel all shared accounts and revoke any power of attorney. Change the locks and install a simple security system. This is not paranoid. It is prudent self-protection. Second, assemble your true guardians. Do not fight alone. Hire an elder law attorney and seek independent mental health evaluations. More importantly, reconnect with friends and community. Your strongest defense is your clear mind and your support network. Third, invest in freedom. The money you save from their demands should be immediately invested in your own happiness and independence. Travel, take classes, join clubs. True love is priceless and freedom is never too expensive. The financial battle is often easier than the emotional war. Abusers, especially family, leverage years of shared history and unconditional love. You must be prepared to defend your emotional boundaries with the same rigor you defend your bank accounts. This requires a shift from being a guilt responder to a boundary enforcer. When the abuser, your son, daughter, or in-law, calls with tears and accusations, you need a pre-written script that is calm, unwavering, and fact-based. If they use the emotional attack, "You're being selfish, Mom. You promised you'd always help," your unwavering response must be, "I am choosing to responsibly manage my own finances now. I am no longer able to provide financial assistance." This is meant to redefine responsibility by shifting the focus from your duty to their lack of self-reliance. If they say, "You're acting confused and unstable. We're worried about your mental health," your response is, "I am perfectly lucid. My decision to protect my retirement funds is a clear and rational one. Please direct all further concerns to my attorney, Mr. Weber." This establishes the lawyer shield by introducing a neutral third party to enforce the boundary. When they use the threat, "We were counting on you. You're making us lose our apartment car," counter with, "Your personal financial obligations are yours to manage. I have already contributed significantly to your lives over the past years. That transaction is now closed. This is fact-based closure, countering guilt with concrete data. If they use the ultimate insult, "We only invited special people" to the wedding, your final retort is, "That is correct, and I have decided that my assistance is only for special people, which does not currently include you." This is the unwavering line, using their own words to enforce the new boundary and transforming their weapon of exclusion into your weapon of power. You must repeat 3 mantras daily to reinforce your decision and protect yourself from the inevitable flood of guilt. My love is not currency. Your worth as a parent is not measured by the size of your bank account. My retirement is not their emergency fund. Your savings are for your long-term independence, not for their short-term gratification. And finally, I am the guardian of my own peace. You have the right to live a life free from stress and financial anxiety. The law is your most powerful ally against family exploitation. Unlike emotional appeals, legal boundaries are clear, and they are enforced by a system that recognizes financial abuse as a crime. The 5 pillars of financial self-defense are immediate, non-negotiable steps to secure your assets and prevent the escalation into a guardianship battle. First, audit and document everything. Immediately create a detailed spreadsheet of every dollar given, when, and for what purpose. This documentation will be your primary evidence in court, reframing their love as a debt. Second, revoke and restrict access. Remove your children's names from any joint bank accounts. Open a new account at a different bank. Cancel all recurring payments and revoke any power of attorney immediately in writing. Third, consult an elder law specialist. Hire an attorney specializing in elder law and protection against guardianship. Your lawyer's job is to make your boundaries legal and impenetrable. Fourth, protect your physical and mental space. Change all locks and passwords. Seek an independent preemptive cognitive evaluation from a trusted doctor to preempt the mental incompetence claim. Fifth, rebuild your will and trust. Update your estate planning documents to reflect your current wishes and protect your assets from any further legal challenge. This signals that you are actively in control of your future. Your reclaimed money is not for hoarding. It is for investing in your independence. Your social network provides witnesses, social proof is security, who can testify to your lucidity and vitality in court, making the isolation tactics of the abuser useless. Use the money you were giving them to travel, pursue hobbies, or even move to a new location. Live a life so demonstrably free that the court has no choice but to recognize your competence. In the new chapter of your life, your most potent weapon is your voice. The language you use must project an unshakable confidence that makes the abuser's false narrative crumble. It is a deliberate shift from the language of a pleaser to the language of a protector. When they use the emotional attack, "You're being selfish, Mom. You promised you'd always help." Your response should be, "I am choosing to responsibly manage my own finances now. I am no longer able to provide financial assistance." Your new vocabulary must eliminate passive and apologetic language. When they demand money because it will be ours anyway, your response must be sharp. "You are confusing an inheritance with a premature withdrawal. I am the sole owner of my assets until I decide otherwise." Your sense of entitlement is not a legal document. When threatened with loneliness, deliver the ultimate psychological blow. You say, "I will end up alone." The truth is, I was already alone when I was financing your life. Now, I am alone by my own choice, and that is the greatest power I have ever known. This flips the entire narrative from tragedy to triumph. The language of independence is a language of finality. It signals that the past transaction is closed, the bank is closed, and the emotional drama is now subject to the cold, clear rules of self-respect and the law. The end of the financial abuse is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of recovery. You must now shift your focus from fighting the abuser to rebuilding the sense of self-worth that the abuse attempted to destroy. This is the phase where you define your new legacy, a legacy not of money given, but of wisdom demonstrated. Healing requires acknowledging the difficult truths about the relationship and the pain of the betrayal. Allow yourself to mourn the relationship you thought you had. The person you are fighting is not the child you raised. They are the person who chose greed over love. By sharing your story, you take away the abuser's power and help others. Your story becomes a warning and an inspiration, the ultimate transformation of pain into purpose. See the money not as a loss to your abusers, but as the final payment for your emotional freedom. This transaction bought you the knowledge, the clarity, and the unshakable self-respect that you carry for the rest of your life. It was a worthwhile investment. Your final years should be about defining success on your own terms. Instead of financing the ungrateful, offer your wisdom to those who seek it. Mentor a younger person in a volunteer group. Your experience in the legal battle can save another senior from financial ruin. Use your time and resources to explore the passions you deferred for decades. This tangible demonstration of living fully is the most potent answer to the abuser's accusation that you are confused or done. Create a new will and trust that clearly outlines your intentions. This document, created during your period of crystalline clarity, is the final, undisputed statement of your autonomy. It ensures that your resources support the people and causes who truly honor your legacy, reflecting your principles of self-reliance and integrity. The battle against elder financial abuse is fought not just in the courtroom, but in the community. When abusers file a guardianship petition, their strategy relies heavily on two things: isolating you and portraying you as mentally incompetent. Your defense must be a coordinated, visible counter-effort that uses the power of social proof to demonstrate your full competence and vitality. You must actively cultivate a network of individuals who can serve as both your emotional anchor and your legal witnesses. These include the professional circle, your attorney, your banker, your doctor, psychologist, whose professional testimony carries weight in court. Your community circle, the garden club volunteer group, can testify to your everyday competence and social engagement, proving you are active, engaged, and capable. A trusted neighbor can confirm your recent independence, lack of dependency on the abuser, and rational decision-making. In this stage, you must make your competence visible